the killing in Iran is stopping, and it's stopped, and it's stopping. And there's no plan for executions or executions. So I've been told that on good authority. We'll find out about it. I'm sure if it happens, we'll all be very upset, including you will be very upset.
And moments ago, Iran closed its airspace without explanation, at least temporarily. Here to discuss this, Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton. Senator, 3 hours ago, we were hearing that America could be planning military strikes against Iran. However, the president came out and made those kind of cryptic comments about the killing stopping. Then Iran closes its airspace, and we're moving personnel out of our military bases in the region. What the heck's going on here?
Well, Laura, what I would recommend is rather than closing its airspace, it stop the violence against its own people. The massacre of innocent civilians now probably numbers in the thousands. President Trump has made it clear he's not going to tolerate this kind of wanton violence against the people who are simply yearning for freedom after 47 years of oppression by the Ayatollahs, which are also spreading revolutionary violence and terror around the world with the blood of hundreds of Americans on their hands. I think President Trump this afternoon was specifically referring to certain public executions that were scheduled that it appears at the time had not gone forward. We'll find out, as he said. But he's been very clear in his demands that the Ayatollahs stop the wanton violence against their own people.
Senator Cotton, you get confidential, top secret briefings in your position in the Senate. The American people aren't privy to what the administration does know about what's happening there. But as usual, I think people are concerned. They're concerned that we could be edging toward war. They're concerned that helping Iran, and a noble pursuit indeed, how does that help the average American who's still struggling to pay some bills? And you see it online, and these are MAGA diehards who have some concerns, not overly freaking out, but some concerns here.
Yeah, Laura, and I can understand that. First, I'd point to what you might call the President Trump way of war. If you look at the most consequential, bold, and audacious actions he's taken, the killing of the ISIS leader in Syria, the killing of Iran's terrorist mastermind in Iraq, the strikes against Iran's nuclear programs last year, and the masterful apprehension of Nicolas Maduro just a couple weeks ago. These look nothing like the Iraq or Afghanistan war. They were not commitments of tens of thousands of troops on open-ended missions. These were direct, bold strikes that advance clear national security priorities. And of course, Iran has been terrorizing the United States and the civilized world for 47 years. As I said, they've got the blood of hundreds of Americans on their hands. And unless there's a fundamental change in the behavior of the Ayatollahs, the only way Iran will stop being this source of instability, disorder, chaos, and violence is for the Iranian people to take their future in their hands, again, yearning for freedom for 47 years. We would certainly be, it would certainly be better for us and all of our friends if Iran was not exporting revolutionary violence and terror every day.
Senator, the added benefit of cleaving China away from Iran, that can't be understated either, if indeed there's new leadership there. Senator, we'll be watching this closely. Thank you so much, sir.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.
To be speaking to the media right now. Let's listen in.
So we had great numbers introduced today. We had a wonderful speech in front of great people in Detroit. Mostly in the car business, and we're setting records in manufacturing. It's going very well. I think people appreciated what I had to say in terms of the numbers. So we're very happy about that. I'm going back to the White House now. We're going to look at the whole situation that's going on in Iran. It's really bad stuff. Minnesota is going to have to take care of itself for a little while. We have tremendous theft and fraud going on in that state because you have an incompetent governor, grossly incompetent governor, and a corrupt governor. But we'll straighten that out. But Iran is on my mind when I see the kind of death that is happening over there, we think. So we're going to get some accurate numbers. I'll have it in about 20 minutes. We'll get some accurate numbers as to what's happening with regard to the killing. The killing looks like it's significant, but we don't know yet for certain. I'll know within 20 minutes. So,
on sanctuary cities,
and we'll act accordingly.
On sanctuary cities,
that U.S. airstrikes, if it comes to that, will have the result of protecting the protesters.
Well, you never know, do you? You never know.
Do you think it's...
So far, my track record's been excellent, but you never know.
Do you think it's going to be something kinetic like that, or more like cyber? Or
well, I can't tell you that. I know exactly what it would be. We have to make a decision.
Sir,
but I can't be. Obviously, I can't be telling you.
Timeline? Yeah, timeline.
Sir, Jamie Dimon said today that it's not a great idea to be chipping away at the Fed's independence. Do you think Jamie Dimon's wrong about that?
Yeah, I think it's fine what I'm doing. We have a bad Fed person. He was extended by Biden. And, yeah, I think he's wrong. I think it's wrong. He's done a bad job. We should have lower rates. Jamie Dimon probably wants higher rates. Maybe he makes more money that way.
on sanctuary cities, sir.
Also was talking about the 10% credit cards. The House Speaker said that it could have negative side effects if it was imposed through Congress. Are you concerned about that? Have you talked about
No, I'm not. I think that people that are paying 28% interest should be protected. We're talking about for a one-year period, but when you have a bank, whether it's Jamie Dimon or anybody else, charging people 28, 32%, 30%, 31%, one case 35%, no, I'll help those people. That's all right.
Sanctuary City, sir, in your speech you said...
It's a one-year 10%. Let the people have a break.
In your speech you said that you're going to be cutting off funding for sanctuary cities on February 1st.
That's right.
What kind of funding?
You'll see. It'll be significant.
All federal funding?
On healthcare, is there something that you can do with insurance companies to bring down premiums like you're doing with credit
Yeah, I'm
cards?
going to meet with the insurance companies, but I want the money to go directly to the people. It's very simple. Into a healthcare savings account, but directly to the people so the people can buy their own healthcare.
Mr. President, on Thursday will be the 6-year anniversary of you signing the Phase 1 trade deal with China, the signature on it. Would that deal open Chinese markets to U.S. goods? It protected intellectual property. Can we get back to that?
Yeah, we can. We're doing very well with China. I have a great relationship with President Xi, as you obviously know. We're doing really well. We're making a lot of money with China.
But can you open their markets to U.S. goods?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's going to happen.
Intel Iran says that it will retaliate in the instance of U.S. strikes against U.S. assets in the Middle East. What do you say to U.S. service members about why it is worth the risk to intervene in Iran?
Yeah, Iran said that the last time I blew them up with the nuclear capability, which they don't have any longer. So Iran said that the last time. They better behave.
Mr. President,
Intel stock is really high after you invested. Are you going to invest more in Intel?
Yeah, I like it. So, well, I don't know about Intel, but I'll invest more in other things. So, as you know, Intel came to see me. They needed help. And I said, I'll help you, but I want 10% of your company to go to the United States of America. And we made, because of that deal, tens of billions of dollars. The stock went very up and very high, and we made tens of billions of dollars. They walked away and they gave us a lot of money, but they did a great deal for themselves because their stock has gone up. As soon as we went in, Apple went in, NVIDIA went in, a lot of smart people went in, they followed us. So yeah, we're doing that. We've done other of those deals. In Alaska, we did a deal where we got a big piece of a company where we were helping them to get a road. We're the only ones that could have done it. And we said, we want something out of the company for the United States of America, okay? So I believe in that. We have some other ones that we're looking at. I believe in that. If it's up to us, if they can't do it without us, and then I say, well, we'll do it. If you were a private guy, you'd say, what do we get for doing it? Now, I don't want anything for myself. I want our country to be rich as hell. But with Intel, we made billions and billions of dollars, right?
So, Mr. President, on Iran, do you have a message for the leaders currently of Iran?
Yeah, the message is they've got to show humanity. They've got a big problem, and I hope they're not going to be killing people. And I'm going to have a report very soon. It would seem to me that they have been badly misbehaving, but that is not confirmed.
Secretary Ben Besson.
hostage rescue effort that ended in disaster.
Well, it was a disaster for Jimmy Carter. They had all sorts of problems, and the helicopters were crashing and everything. You know what it was? The exact opposite of Venezuela. Do you agree with that? Do you agree? As a reporter, who are you with? Who are you with?
I'm with the Financial Times, sir.
Oh, good. Well, it's a nice paper.
So are you committing not to sending U.S. troops into Iran?
Why would I tell you that? Why would I don't talk about military strategy with a reporter, you know, even though I do like the Financial Times.
Secretary Bassett.
Are you consulting with our allies regarding Iran? What are they telling you, and why do you think the
Well, I'm not going to tell you what they're telling me. I don't tell you what
they... Why do you think the Iranian leadership continues to defy you, Mr. President?
You think they are?
Well,
it's only been a couple of days.
They continue to kill protesters.
Well, they said that about Venezuela, too, you know. It's only been a couple of days. They haven't defied me. They haven't done anything as far as we're concerned. But it looks like they're killing a lot of people, but it has not been confirmed. I'll know very soon.
On Greenland, sir, the premier of Greenland said today, we prefer to stay with Denmark. Do you see that as the final
said
word?
That?
The premier of Greenland.
Well, that's their problem. That's their problem. I disagree with him. I don't know who he is, don't know anything about him, but that's going to be a big problem for him.
Do you want to see democracy in Iran?
Ideally, you'd like to see it, but what we want to see is we don't want to see people killed, and we want to see a little bit of freedom for these people. These people have been living in hell for a long time. You know, that used to be a hell of a country. I have friends that used to invest in Iran, and they did well with their investments. It was a great place. The people were great. Even the leadership was good. And now it's living in hell. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
President Trump remarks coming off Air Force One, taking questions from the media and saying that he will get an updated report once he's back at the White House in about 20 minutes on the situation in Iran as those protests continue and the worry.
U.S., Danish, and Greenlandic officials have met face-to-face to discuss President Donald Trump's ambitions to take control of Greenland, a semi-autonomous territory of Denmark. At the same time, Denmark and several European allies are sending troops to Greenland in a pointed signal of intent to boost the vast Arctic island's security. Danish Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen said after a meeting in Washington on Wednesday with his Greenlandic counterpart, U.S. President J.D. Vance, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, that a fundamental disagreement remained. He acknowledged that we didn't manage to change the American position, but said he hadn't expected to. However, Wednesday's events did point to ways ahead. Denmark, Greenland, and the U.S. agreed to form a high-level working group to explore if we can find a common way forward, Løkke Rasmussen said. He added that he expects the group to hold its first meeting within a matter of weeks. Danish and Greenlandic officials didn't specify who would be part of the group or give other details. Løkke Rasmussen said the group should focus on how to address U.S. security concerns while respecting Denmark's red lines. The two countries are NATO allies. Whether that is doable, I don't know, he added, holding out hope that the exercise could take down the temperature. He wouldn't elaborate on what a compromise might look like, and expectations are low. As Danish Defense Minister Troels Lund Poulsen put it Thursday, having the group is better than having no working group, and it's a step in the right direction. It will at least allow the two sides to talk with each other rather than about each other. Trump has argued repeatedly that the U.S. needs control of Greenland for its national security. He has sought to justify his calls for a U.S. takeover by repeatedly claiming that China and Russia have their own designs on Greenland, which holds vast untapped reserves of critical minerals. Just as the talks were taking place in Washington on Wednesday, the Danish Defense Ministry announced that it was increasing its military presence in Greenland, along with NATO allies. France, Germany, Norway, and Sweden announced that they were each sending very small numbers of troops in a symbolic but pointed move, signaling solidarity with Copenhagen. The UK said one British officer was part of what it called a reconnaissance group for an Arctic endurance exercise. The German Defense Ministry, which dispatched 13 troops, said the aim is to sound out possibilities to ensure security with a view to Russian and Chinese threats in the Arctic. It said it was sending them on a joint flight from Denmark as a strong signal of our unity. Poulsen said that the Danish armed forces, together with a number of Arctic and European allies, will explore in the coming weeks how an increased presence and exercise activity in the Arctic can be implemented in practice, he said. On Thursday, he said the intention was to establish a more permanent military presence with a larger Danish contribution and to invite allies to take part in exercises and training on a rotating basis, according to Danish broadcaster DR. While the European troops are largely symbolic at this point, the timing was no accident. The deployment serves both to send a political signal and military signal to America, but also indeed to recognize that Arctic security should be reinforced more, said Maria Martisiute, an analyst at the European Policy Center in Brussels. And first and foremost, this should be done through allied effort, not by the US coming and wanting to take it over. So it complicates the situation for the US. The European efforts are Danish-led and not coordinated through NATO, which is dominated by the United States. But the European allies are keen to keep NATO in play, and Germany said that the aim is to obtain a well-founded picture on the ground for further talks and planning within NATO. Poulsen has said he and Greenland's foreign minister plan to meet NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte in Brussels on Monday to discuss security in and around the Arctic. NATO has been studying ways to bolster security in the Arctic region. I'm really looking forward for an announcement of some kind of military activity or deployment under NATO's framework, Martisiute said. Otherwise, there is indeed a risk that NATO is paralyzed, and that would not be good. US, Danish, and Greenlandic officials have met face-to-face to discuss President Donald Trump's ambitions to take control of Greenland, a semi-autonomous territory of Denmark. At the same time, Denmark and several European allies are sending troops to Greenland in a pointed signal of intent to boost the vast Arctic island's security. Danish Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen said after a meeting in Washington on Wednesday with his Greenlandic counterpart, US President J.D. Vance, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, that a fundamental disagreement remained. He acknowledged that we didn't manage to change the American position, but said he hadn't expected to. However, Wednesday's events did point to ways ahead. Denmark, Greenland, and the US agreed to form a high-level working group to explore if we can find a common way forward. Løkke Rasmussen said. He added that he expects the group to hold its first meeting within a matter of weeks. Danish and Greenlandic officials didn't specify who would be part of the group or give other details. Løkke Rasmussen said the group should focus on how to address US security concerns while respecting Denmark's red lines. The two countries are NATO allies. Whether that is doable, I don't know, he added, holding out hope that the exercise could take down the temperature. US President Donald Trump had informed Iran that he will not attack the country, but called for restraint, an Iranian envoy said Thursday, according to The Dawn, a Pakistani daily. Iran's ambassador to Islamabad, Reza Amiri Moghadam, said he received information at around 1 a.m., which indicated that Trump did not want war and had asked Iran not to attack the U.S. interests in the region, the Daily reported. Speculation was high since Wednesday that the Trump administration could launch an attack on Iran after reports said the U.S. had begun drawing down personnel from its military bases in the Middle East, and Washington advised American citizens on Monday to leave Iran without delay. Trump had threatened to punish Tehran amid reports of casualties in Iran during anti-government protests. However, the U.S. president has softened his rhetoric toward Iran during remarks at the White House late Wednesday. Trump said he had been informed that executions in Iran had stopped, but warned that if something like that happens, we will all be saddened. Iranian government officials have accused the US and Israel of backing what they describe as riots and terrorism amid the ongoing protests. While the Iranian authorities have not released official figures on casualties or detainees, the US-based human rights activist news agency RANA estimates that more than 2,600 people have been killed, including protesters and security personnel.